All right, let me jump in. So here's a way to level up your Instagram profile today. We're just looking for 3 simple changes for you. We're not going to get into a whole bunch of theory or strategy at this point. We just want some straight answers. The goal here, though, is to really make sure your profile is doing what it should do upon that first interaction. So if somebody has never seen your work before, never met you before, or they met you once and now they're checking you out, we really want to, set up our profiles to kind of be like a handshake. Okay, next page. There we go. So your profile, like I said, it's your first impression in seconds. So we want to have our bio, which is that little snippet of language at the top of our accounts. We want it to be really clear. And then we want to have what's called a pinned post. So you can pin individual posts to the top of your profile, and then they'll always be on the top of the profile. So people don't have to go searching to find out some of these baseline information things. Instagram tends to favor kind of clear niches, engaging carousels and reels. And when people save and share, that's kind of a different discussion, but our goal today is to make your page like instantly understandable and follow worthy. So if they come to you and they're like, what's this person about? It's not hard for them to figure out exactly what you're about. The other great thing about this is if you have these 3 things at the top of your profile, then you can share all your posts and reels and stories with freedom and abandon and, share authentically because that the baseline information is always covered. Okay, so let's first talk about your bio and the best practices for it. Keywords in your bio will help people find you. So if you're a watercolor artist, if you're an oil painter, wildlife artist, pet portraitist, etc., including 1 or 2 of those main identifiers in your bio is great. You want to kind of keep one clear CTA, so a call to action. Hey, shop with me. Here's my commissions. Join my email newsletter. Whatever is your most important thing that you want people to do to continue the relationship with you. And then keep it scannable. I as an English lit major don't love having emojis everywhere. But the fact of the matter is emojis really help people scan through things easily. So if you can use things to make it really clear and easy to read, use them, And then an optional thing is a trust signal. I don't think there's enough room for that really, but you can just say if you want how many clients you've served or how many shows you've gone to, things like that, that just kind of build up your credibility. So some quick examples here. We've got abstract painter, vibrant color fields, right? So right there, we're telling people exactly we're an abstract painter and we're vibrant, colorful. The next thing is we're saying who it's for. Art for modern homes and bold color collectors. Someone who is quiet, reserved, making a very calm space may not find what they want here. We're sharing big, bold colors for modern homes. And then this is their kind of social proof or their proof exhibited, Local Arts 24, and then ships worldwide, their CTA Shop the New series. So you guys see how that's all working together? Digital illustrator, cozy fantasy. So creature art for book lovers and role-playing game. Yeah, fans. Commissions open. I have a wait list. So click here to see my portfolio. So these kind of bios are just clear. They're not really clever. They're not too flowery. They're just straight to the point. I think they generally say like an 8th grade reading level is really good for this quick interaction. So you kind of want to keep it pretty clear and straightforward. And here's the example format. And again, I'll send you guys these slides so you can just copy that or look at it when you're doing this yourself. Yeah, and then always just kind of check in with your bio to make sure it fits with what you're doing these days. And always make sure your links are current, okay? All right, next one, I'll just keep moving it along so we can get to you guys. These are your pinned posts. So this is like your welcome mat, like the very top row of your profile. Hey, this is who I am and what I'm about. They are really great for high engagement. People will see them over and over again. It's an opportunity for you to give a really clear proposition, give a really clear who I am and what I do. So let's just go over it. Yeah, it's a first impression. So sharing your face, sharing really nice images of your work, these kind of things will build credibility almost immediately. And then let's answer their questions, right? This is their first time seeing you or your profile or your work. They're wondering, who are you? What do you make? What is this about? Why should I care? Who is this for? Is this for me? So it's a really great way to answer those questions for your viewer. So the first pinned post can be my art and who it's for. Second, about the artist. And third, you have some options. We'll go through those. So let's see. My art and who it's for. This will be your first pinned post. You can just do a carousel of 5 to 8 best art pieces. And then on that first slide, you can say, is this your vibe? Or you can put down bold abstracts for color lovers, going back to that previous example. Things that really kind of jostle them immediately to say, this is what this is. Your caption can include things about your style or your materials, again, who it's for, and then your basic CTA. So it's kind of like your bio, but a little bit more expanded. It can be a little bit more in depth. And then here's a good example. These botanical watercolors bring natural elements into minimalist spaces. Perfect for plant lovers and calm color palettes. So that's a beautiful caption, and it's completely different than the previous one. It speaks to a totally different person and a totally different art. So it's really calling in who you want to talk to right away. All right, your second one is a fun one. It's about the artist. So do a nice photo of yourself. Maybe you're working in the studio. You could do a reel kind of showing clip-its of yourself, but also your life a little bit. This wants to be really human. You know, a headshot can be wonderful, but you also want it to feel a little bit personal too, a little bit deeper than the headshot that they might see on a billboard or something. Not that you're on billboards, but if you are, that's cool. But you know what I mean? Like a headshot is kind of that first introduction. We want this to be just a little bit more. You don't have to expose yourself completely and share every detail about who you are, but just giving a slight peek into who you are. And then talking about why I make the art I make. It's sort of a meet the artist. Again, that slight depth, a little bit more deepening of the relationship with whoever's interested in your work. You can talk about your story. This is why I'm an artist. You can talk about your values. I paint, these subject matters because I care about XYZ. You can talk about your process. And again, a CTA if you would like. I think a CTA in at least one of these is good. You don't have to do it in every single one, but it doesn't hurt either just to always say like follow for more or whatever. Here's a good example. I've been creating mixed media portraits for 7 years, inspired by human emotion and storytelling. Each piece takes 20 to 30 hours and incorporates traditional and digital techniques. So that's a little bit vague. Just for an example, you might want to even get into the details a little bit more. Like I've been creating mixed media portraits for 7 years of families experiencing their world together or whatever, just a little bit more detailed would be better there. But yeah, it still is enough to create curiosity. You're creating connection and curiosity there. And then the third post can be one of these things. It can be social proof and testimonials. So if you are a wedding painter or a pet portrait artist or whatever, or you sell your prints, who knows any of it, having like a carousel that shows other people have worked with you and had a good experience can be immediately valuable to someone who's just getting to know you, because it's helpful to find out what other people think of a service or a product or a person. So if you have those, it's not bragging, right? It's just informing, because I could sit here and tell you I'm really awesome. I probably wouldn't, but if somebody else tells you that, you're more inclined to believe a secondhand account. Okay, and then you could also do a contemporary, like, here's my current collection or this current sale going on or something like that. So maybe you're directing people to holiday prints or something like that. That would be pinned, but you'd have to adjust it per season, per sale, etc. But it's a good way to like kind of showcase what you really want people focused on today. And then again, you could do like a really fun process video or a behind the scenes video. So time lapses, people love that. Seeing how you bring things together, it's fascinating. And then it adds that credibility of skill and depth as well. And then the last option you could do is like a how to commission me or a how to get started or here's my standard pricing, things like that, sort of an engagement call, next step, like, so this is what I do, this is who I am, and this is how you can interact or work with me. Okay. Third, so that's the second thing. The first thing was our bio. So we can update our bio to make sure it's really clear about what we do, who it's for. Second one is creating those 3 pinned posts at the top. And then the third thing you can do to really level up your social media. This one is kind of challenging, but once you start using it and you'll see it everywhere, it's also very effective and will help you win over those algorithm calculations and gods. So start using hooks in your posts. It can feel unnatural at first. Let it feel weird and unnatural at first. Eventually it'll start to feel more comfortable and aligned better with your voice and who you are. So what is a hook? A hook increases someone's so they're sitting there, they're scrolling, and a hook will pull their brain and make them stop and make them wonder more or want to read more. It essentially causes a break in that constant scrolling kind of algorithm. When people are on these social media apps and they're scrolling or they're looking at things, their brain is kind of in a little bit of a lull. But if you can hook them and pull them out of it, it'll increase your engagement and the effectiveness of your posts. Yeah, just kind of keep that in mind as to why it matters. Essentially, there's a few different ways to hook people. You can put the payoff up front. So immediately tell them what they're going to get by watching your video or by looking at your post or reading your post. You can use bold text, on a carousel or on a video to just kind of say, hey, this is what this is. And then you'll notice a lot of times people use movement in the very first second of a reel. So if you watch the people with really high scores in engagement and all that, they'll often start by moving the phone, right? It's like a move the phone to the face kind of thing. There's a trend right now where it's this woman tripping over something and then it goes into their thing. So it's about that. Your brain is like, ooh, movement. What is this? That kind of immediate. As people, we generally want to start with an introduction, right? We generally want to be like, hey guys, it's me. That's not a hook, not in today's world anymore. So get them. It's the first bite, that headline, etc. Let's see. I think I have examples here. Yeah, starting at the climax. So don't give the intro, give that big climax of the story and then go into your intro. So I ruined it at layer 7, then saved it, right? That's immediate, what did they ruin and how did they save it? Or 2 years on this piece, final reveal. That's powerful. It's like, well, if they spent 2 years on this and this is the final reveal, I'm curious, what does 2 years on a piece look like? From blank wall to gallery ready in 12 hours, right? So it's not like, hey guys, I've been, working on this piece and I'm so excited to share it with you. Here it is from the blank wall to the gallery, right? You go right to the meat. Other types of hooks, your direct command. So wait, stop, check it out. Have you, these kind of, but don't buy prints until you see this paper. Question. Have you ever wondered why watercolor blooms? So a question will make people think, oh yeah, I am curious. What is that? Questions can be hard if they don't feel like they align perfectly. You can ask a question, but you want to make sure you give the answer in the post. Otherwise people will feel frustrated. You can create a curiosity gap, which is the mistake that made this my best painting. I wonder what that is. Or a bold statement, stop using this brush for acrylics. Stop hanging this kind of art in your house. Don't buy art for this reason. Whatever it is, you kind of leave a ... and then you explain it to them. All right. So for example, I think I've done this one 1,000 times probably because I get lazy. I'm sure we all do. But you're like, new painting. Here it is. I've done all this work on it. Why do I have to write a hook? But instead, think how more effective. So new painting. Okay. Scrolling. Versus I almost quit this canvas and here's what changed at hour 5. I want to know. Human brains are inquisitive. We care. Keep it human and conversational. Use bolds. And it's also very much like promising clear value. So it's like telling them exactly what they're going to get by engaging. Okay. All right. So here's just a nice action plan that you can do. Refresh your bio. Yeah, you can even just pick one. Refresh bio, 3 pins, or practice those hooks. And again, those hooks can feel clickbaity, but just let yourself be awkward with it for a little time and then you'll get used to it. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing this.